Let me start the recording. Okay. Now, as you can set up two Palo Alto firewalls like this in high availability as an HA pair. Okay. Now, what HA does, high availability means that it will allow you to minimize the downtime by ensuring that an alternate firewall is available if the peer firewall fails. That means, let's say in this scenario, if you have two firewalls, Palo Alto firewall, two firewalls over here. Okay. Now, if this guy is handling all the traffic, which is active, okay, and this one is passive. Now, in HCP, what happens that you minimize the downtime. So let's say if the traffic is going from your LAN towards internet, and if the active firewall fails, okay, so what will happen? You can choose a secondary path also. Okay, so that means that it is to minimize downtime by ensuring that an alternate firewall is available if the peer fails. Now, HA pair comprises of firewalls which has to be on identical models. Okay, configuration and the licensing part. Okay. Now in HA guys, we have something called as dedicated or in-band HA ports. So when you get a firewall or when you define the interfaces, you will see that you can define a dedicated HA port. Okay, so this dedicated HA port, or also known as in-band ports, are available on the firewall to synchronize the data to other firewalls as well. Okay, so when you define an HA firewall, that means active and passive, or active, whatever it is. So firewall specific or configurations such as your management IP, okay, or and HA config, application control information. So these three are that you have to define first. So when you define the management IP, HA configuration on the active firewall and also on the passive firewall, and then you define the HA, then what will happen? This guy will synchronize to each other and they will become active passive. After that, if you define an interface on active, it will be copied to passive as well. Okay, so we'll see right now. Now also there's one more thing. There are few conditions that triggers a failover. Now failover means what? Let's say if you have two Palo Altos, active and passive. So on what conditions the active will fail over to passive? That means when the passive will come up. On what conditions? The first condition is your monitored interface or link monitoring. So let's say if I have a firewall like this, okay, and if I'm monitoring these two interfaces, okay, so if I'm monitoring this interface and this interface has gone down, so that means what? Then firewall come to know that this link is down, then it will fail over. So second one is your path monitoring. Link monitoring you do on the interface level, at, and path monitoring you do on the destination basis. Same likewise, if the destination is not reachable, then it will also do a failover. And also there's something called as heartbeat and hello messages. If the active is not responding to both the heartbeat and hello messages, then it will again fail over to passive. Okay. Now, in most of the most scenarios, you will see in the live environment, mostly all the organizations they will configure Palo Alto, two of Palo Alto's HA pair as active and passive, because this is the recommended deployment method. So one firewall actively manages the traffic while the other is just doing the synchronizations. So when the active fails, the passive transitions to active state and it takes over seamlessly. It enforces the same policies to maintain the network security. Okay, clear guys? Any doubts? Anyone on H introduction? Okay. Now there are two more things over here. When you do an HA between active and passive, so there are two links you define. So one is known as HA link and one is known as backup link. So the firewall in HA pair uses HA link to synchronize the data and maintain state information on the sessions. Okay. Now there's something called as control link and data link over here. So control link, it will what will do? It will just define your, it will synchronize all the control plane traffic. And data plane, it will synchronize the data link, it will synchronize the data traffic. Okay. So let me just switch it on and I'll show you. Okay guys, so remember over here what we did. I'll show you the diagram over here right now. So the topology is something like this. So topology says what? You have two firewalls, Palo Alto 1 and 2. Okay, in which one will be active we will make and the second firewall will make it passive. This is your LAN zone, which has one switch and PC, and this is your compute zone, which has one switch and PC over here. Okay, so first thing is that what guys, before we do HA, we have to define the management IP for both the firewalls individually. So that's why I'll take this one, CLI, and take over here also, Palo Alto 2. Okay, so this is your Palo Alto one. I'll give the command show interface management. So you can see right now what interface management IP is there, 10.1.1.50. Okay, and your Palo Alto 2 show interface management 10.1.1.100. Okay, so we'll log into both the firewalls 10.1.1.50 and 10.1.1.100. Okay, it's pretty fine. Hold on, guys. It is predefined. Let me remove the configs. Okay, then restart the same. Stop, stop, wipe, wipe, start, start. Okay, guys. So there was already a configuration there. So I have just removed the wiped the configuration on the node and I've restarted. So we'll just do the. So you can see right now it's starting up. Follow Alt 1 and 2. We'll just wait for some time over here. I'll be back, guys. Just to give me 2 minutes. Okay, so we'll try to log in now. Still starting up, I believe.
Anupam, just a quick question. Will you be using Panorama in our labs?
No Panorama, only Panoramas.
Okay.
Because Panorama is a different module altogether.
You're waiting for the upload of Panorama, as promised.
You didn't get the Panorama? I have to check. you should have.
Now you get a 9.1.
Okay, one minute, let me check. Fine, so I'll send you today one. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, it's logged in now. Okay, so I have confirmed now. If you see right now, there's no IP. So I'll go to configure mode, set device config, system type, static, address. This is my Palo Alto one, so I'll give 10.1.1.50. Net mask as /24 and default gateways 10.1.1. Okay, when you do save config and commit. So you can see right now I'm getting a warning message. It says what? Commit job was not queued since auto commit was not, was not yet finished successfully. Okay, so in that case, what you can do, you can do commit force. Okay, this you get when you initially you start the panels. So I think 9.0 takes much of your RAM. If you want, you can practice with 8.0 as well.
Is that a 9.0?
Yes.
Yeah, it would take time. It takes time.
Yeah. and it takes a lot of time. It eats up a lot of
Yeah,
memory
it
also.
takes, yeah, it's a lot of memory.
Okay, see if the Palo Alto 2, I think image is giving a problem. If it doesn't work, then we'll shift to 8.0. Okay. Okay, fine. So in the meantime, we'll log into Palo Alto 1. Okay.
So are we gonna, is there any topic that we're gonna talk about routing in the Palo Alto?
Yes, routing is there. It will come after HA.
Okay then, thanks.
Okay. Still loading up, I think. Okay. In the meantime, it's loading up. I'll give you the brief what I was going to show you. So when you configure Palo Alto to Palo Alto or firewall in HA, so you have to define two links over here. One is known as your data link, and one is your control link. Okay. So these will be your HA links actually. Okay, so if you remember, if in the interface type, when you select, there's one type which is known as HA on the interface. So these are your data links and control link. So control link is used to exchange the hello messages, okay, heartbeats, HA state information, and your management plane sync and routing. Okay, and data link is used to synchronize your sessions, okay, and your routing tables. Okay, that includes your ARP table and everything. That is your data link. So data links mean what? Whatever factors which are there which helps in your data plane traffic is synchronized over data link, and control plane traffic for your hello heartbeats, okay, user ID information management plane. All those details are synced over control link. So we'll see that right now if it's up. Let me see.
So controlling is like for help monitor.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I think there's some issue with my Palo Alto device over here. Just give me a moment. Alright guys, so I have sent you the panorama.
Yeah, I got it.
Yep.
So thank you.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I'll check it now.
Okay.
Well, where did you send it? Oh, email?
Yeah.
Oh,
Through email. It's a link.
okay.
Link. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So let me log in now. Okay. So when you log in, guys, you won't see the HA tab over here. So you have to add the widgets using go to app, system and click on high availability. And you can see right now it says what HA not enabled. Clear? So to enable HA, what you have to do? First of all, you have to define the management IP that we have defined already. After management IP, we will define the HA configuration part. So we'll go to my device, okay, and then I'll go to my setup over here. So host name I'll give over here as my Palo Alto 1, all right, and the other one I'll go to. So you can see the HA widgets, it's not there. You have to enable it from the widgets tab. Go to widget system and you can click on high availability. You can have the interfaces also over here. So let me add the interface as well. Okay. Then I'll go to the second Palo Alto. I'll give the change the host name to Palo Alto 2. Clear? Now I have to go to high availability tab. So this is the second tab on the left. Now it says what? It has something called as setup, active passive settings, election settings. Okay. Setup will talk about the HA configs, active passive settings over here. Your election settings, what is the device priority and preemption. Okay. Then you have on the right is your control link and your data link. Okay. So guys, as I've told you, control link does what? It is used to exchange the hello packets, heartbeats, HS state information, etc. to the, I mean, between the active and passive. Okay. This is a mandate layer 3 link. That means you have to give IP address on HA control link. Please remember that. Okay. And what are the ports used? TCP port 28769 and 28260. These two are the ports used actually. And if you're doing an encryption, then it is port 28. Now, for your control link, this is the properties. Now let's come back to data link. Now what data link does, it will actually synchronize your sessions, forwarding table, IPsec associations, ARP table between the HAPS. Okay. Now data flow on HA2 link is always unidirectional. That means it flows from active to passive, or active primary to passive, active secondary. So it is actually is a, always remember this is you can define IP, but HA2 is always a layer 2 link. Clear? So remember this is HA2, that means layer 2, and control link HA1 means layer 3. So we will define accordingly. So the first thing you have to define is what? You go over here, you say enable HA. Now group ID will be your HA group ID. You can select anything from between 1 to 63, and it has to be same across the Palo Alto that you want to be in same HA pair. So let's say if I'm selecting 1, Okay, HA mode, I'm selecting active passive. Now peer HA1 IP address and backup IP address. Okay, so we'll see now what is this HA1 and backup. So as you can see over here, I have talked about the controlled link. Controlled link, your control link is also known as HA1 link. For redundancy of controlled link, you have something called as HA1 backup as well. Okay, so this is optional. Either if you want to use, you can define, or else we'll go with HA1. So HA1 we have not defined yet. We'll go back to topology right now. Okay, so your control link is on, I have taken 1/2 as my data link, which is your HA2. Okay, and my 1/1 I have taken control link, which is my HA1. So control link is always layer 3 and this is always layer 2. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll just quickly go back over here. What is the IP address? 10.1.1.50, sorry, it is the, what do you call this, this is your management IP. Okay, so let's say if I take I can take 10.10.10.1 over here and dot 2 over here. Okay, so I'll just go to my Palo Alto one again. I will say the peer. So what is the peer? Control link 10.10.1.2. That means the other guy. You click on OK. So come back over here. You say what? Active passive settings over here. Passive link state is shutdown or auto. You select shutdown over here as of now. Device priority 100. Preemptive hard backup. HA timer settings recommended aggressive advanced. Okay, so what are these? It's nothing. It's all about the timers over here, election setting timers. So if I'm selecting recommended, so you can see only thing is changing is your promotional hold time and heartbeat interval. So if I select aggressive, that means your promotional hold time, hello intervals, heartbeat interval is lesser. If I'm selecting recommended, that means it is waiting for longer time. Okay, so we'll say, let's say we'll say aggressive. Click on OK. Then let's go to a control link over here. Now guys, control link I have selected, I mean it is by default it is working on the management. Now which port you need, you have to define over here. So what you have to do, you have to go to your network interfaces. The interface 1/1 1/2, right? So 1/1 is my control link. So you will go to 1/1, you will say interface tab HA, simple, that's it. Click on OK. Interface 1/2, you will say interface type HA. Click on OK, and you will do a commit over here. So this is my 1/1, okay, control link, and the IP address is I have given is 10.10.10.1. Net mask is layer sorry /24. Gateway guys, in case it is connected via different network, you can click on OK. HA2 is what, which port? 1/2. There's no need to give IP address. Okay, you can just select layer 2 and click on OK. Now you will commit. Now let's see whether it's committed or not. Okay, the commit is successful. When I go to dashboard, so you can see right now it says what mode HA has come back over here. Okay, it says HA2 is up, heartbeat down, nothing. Why? Because on the other end I have not configured the HA. So we'll go to the device over here, second Palo Alto. All right, I'll say enable HA. Group number 1 I have taken. Peer IP address was 10.10.10.1. Okay. Device priority I'll give as 200. Preemptive, hard backup, recommended no aggressive. Port management over here. So it's not mentioned. So we'll go back to my networks. Interfaces 1/1 is what type? Type is HA. Click on OK. 1/2 type HA. Click on OK. So go back to the high availability setup. Now my interface will pop up right now. So control link is on 1/1. So control link 1/1. IP address 10.10.10.2. The one you have defined on the other end. Okay, and your data link is port number 1/2. Click on OK, and then I will do a commit over here. So the moment I do a
Anupam,
commit, one second, Aditya. So the
yeah,
moment
yeah.
you do commit, you can see right now everything is unknown over here because the other guys were other firewall was not set up. So I'm just waiting for the commit to complete. So once it completes, you can see on the active firewall, all the thing changes and your synchronization is done. That means what? Your first firewall becomes active, and the second is your passive. Yes, Aditya, go ahead.
Yeah, Anupam, in that HA passive interface, HA backup interface, can we can we use another interface, and should we be assigning a new IP address for it?
Yes, for the control links. So you can see right now, whatever if I want, I can select a one more port. So I mean, what I have to do, I have to define one more interface into HA, come back over here, and I can define two more backups.
Yeah, but here there is a backup peer HA1 IP address, like in the setup section.
Correct.
Yeah, what about that?
So this is related to this one.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, got it.
Okay. So your
Yeah.
backup. So I have defined. So because for lab purpose, I'm using one. In live environment, they might use two. Let's say over here the IP
Hmm.
is 10.20.20.1. So same subnet IP you will configure over here also. So 10.20.20.2. Okay,
Okay.
guys, clear on this HA part right now. So you can see right now HA is up and my second file is passive. Okay. Now let's see something called as link monitoring and path monitoring. What are those? Okay. Now you tell me that do I need to set up link and path monitoring if I'm setting up either of them or both of them? Do I have to set up on the active or the passive?
You have to set up on both of them.
Link and path monitoring on both?
Or if you have to do it on the active.
Actually, it's only required on the active. Because let's say if this side, if your left hand side is the active, this side is the active part, okay? If you're monitoring this link, okay, and you're monitoring this destination also, so what you can do, you have to only do on the active part because passive you don't need actually to configure because the active firewall is monitoring the active path. If in case this fails, then the failover happens. Clear? So how do we do it? Over here you can see first we will see the link monitoring. You can see it is enabled failure condition any. So let me click on the settings. Okay. Now link monitoring is enabled failure condition any. If I click on all or any, what's the difference? Okay. Now guys, uh, let's say if I add a link group. Okay, I'll say what should I say? Primary link. I will add the interface. Oh, hold on. Before that, I should enable. Let me configure it. Hold on. So Ethernet 1/4 and 1/3. 1/3 is layer 3. 1/3, what's the IP address? 10, sorry, 192.168.10.100. So I'll say 192.168.10.100/24. Okay, and one common profile for the ping part. Okay, and 1/4 is 172.16.10.100. So 1/4 is hold on, select security zone. What is that? 3 1/3 is LAN 1/4 is layer 3 virtual not default security zone compute IPv4 172.16.10.100/24 and one common profile. Now guys, see here, I'm doing on the active, okay, and passive has no interfaces defined, okay, but if I refresh right now, once the commit is done, you will see the interfaces over here as well. Okay, so you can see, did you see this guys? On the passive, whatever you configured on the active, it just popped up. Understood guys?
Mhm.
Okay,
That makes sense. That makes sense because of the synchronization that's
yes,
happening on the data
yes,
link.
exactly. So I'll go back to my device over here, and I will say link monitoring. Okay, so I'll say that I want to monitor one link which is my primary for the LAN. Okay, and I'll say 1/3 over here, and I'll include 1/4 also over here. Now failure conditions any means guys, very simple. If either of these fails, your primary will or the active will trigger a failover to passive. And if I select all, that means if one fails, one is still active, it won't take it won't fail over. It will wait for both the interfaces to go unreachable. Clear? So I'll say okay over here. All right, now there's one more thing called as path monitoring over here. So path monitoring, you can see a virtual wire path, a VLAN path, and a virtual router path. Virtual wire path you will do in case of virtual wire destination, when you define VLAN for VLAN. And in our case, let's say if I want to define a destination. So what is the destination over here? 192.168.10.10. So actually, let me switch it on. Let me see IP 192.168.10.10/24 192.168.10.100. Can I ping my default gateway? Yes, I can. Okay, so I'll say that this is my primary link over here, and destination IP I'll just add 192.168.10.10. Ping interval is 200 seconds. Okay, and ping count is 10. Name I'll give us primary. Okay, let's say default. Okay, this is done. I'll do a commit over here. Now see this, whatever interfaces you define, it got copied to the passive. But do you think this link monitoring will be copied? This link monitoring
No,
is copied? No, because this
no.
is separate. Okay, this is how you define the path monitoring and link monitoring. Now there's one more tab called operational command. It says what? Suspend local device. So if I click on this one, suspend local device, that means what? Your active will be suspended to passive. Okay, so if you want to see right now, you can see it says what? This is your local device is passive and local device is active over here. Okay, so first we'll try to see the traffic failover over here. Hold on. So let me switch this on. Define the IP over here 172.16.10.10/24 172.16.10.100. Can I ping my 172.16.10.100? Yes, I can. Okay. No, can I ping 192.168.10.10? Okay, I won't be able to ping. Why? Because there is no policy. So I'll define a policy over here. I'll say compute to LAN. Source will be your compute. Destination is LAN. Okay, and I'll do commit. Okay, so once I do commit, I don't have any policies over here. So we'll see right now whether the policy get copied or not. So you can see here the policy got copied. Okay, so I'll check whether the ping is working. It's working. Okay, now let me log into the switch. Guys, sometimes naturally most of the times what happens over here, as we are using a VM version, the failover doesn't happen. So if I give the command show interface description, you can see my Ethernet is just slash. Okay, now what I've defined over here, I've defined on my HA that my any condition is what 1/3 and 1/4, right? 1/3 and 1/4. So what I'll do, I'll go to the switch over here and I'll just do a shutdown on the link. So I'll say interface E0/1 and I'll say no, sorry, shut. So the moment I do shut, everything is down. So the problem here is we are using VM, so that's why the trigger will not happen, I think. It says what? Non-functional path down. Okay, now you can see over here,
Is
my
it not
guy,
because of the time that you define that
no,
it will
no,
take?
the failover happened actually. You can see Palo
Yeah.
Alto 2 has become active. Okay, Palo 2 has become active. Now if I ping, it should ping actually. Yeah, it's pinging.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, because I think you define a time that
yes,
to take to
timer.
resume the
Yes, yes,
timer. So
timer
if
was
you want to
200.
lower that, yep.
Right.
So
Okay, so this was one of the condition over here. Now if I go back to my switch, I'll say no shut. Okay, so the failback won't happen. So what you have to do now, your optional command will come into place. So this guy is active over here local. You can click on suspend local device, click on OK. So you can see suspended and my device over here, which is local, it became active. Okay, now we'll quickly see one of the few of the captures over here. So if I go to let's go to 1/1, which is my control link. We'll see the captures right now. So you can see what do you see over here on the control link? You see what? Hellos and heartbeats. That means the ping response. If I stop this over here, you can see the ping request is going from one firewall to another. Okay. And also I've told you that ICMP heartbeats are also used, and you can see the ports over here. Do you see the TCP connection? 28260 port. Okay, 28260. So this is a TCP connection over here which has been used. Now we will see quickly the other guy over here, or let's say this guy only. Capture 1/2. So 1/2 is what my L2. Okay, and I don't think it will show up anything over here. It should show. Hmm, I think it's not working. Capture 1/2. It's not working, guys. My Wireshark is a problem. Okay, so any issue understanding, guys, this HA part, basically the active and passive.
Um, Anupam, can you just go through in the PA1 regarding the routing part? Can you explain that?
Which routing part?
In the PA1, you have put the routing part, right?
No, there's no routing. It's just default because both of them are. You can see there are no static routes because both of them are directly connected, right? LAN and compute. That's why there's no routing over here.
Yeah. So can you go to the HA part? Can like regarding the configuration where you did the HA configuration? Yeah. In this link and path monitoring.
Okay. Oh, link and
In
path.
link and path. Yeah. Regarding this. Sorry.
Sure, I'll just repeat it for you. So link monitoring is nothing. It is just one of the failover condition that you define in your Palo Alto. Okay, and what you define that if these two interfaces are added in the link group, that means these two will be monitored from the active firewall. And if either of these are not reachable, then your active firewall will trigger a failover to the passive guy. That means your passive firewall will become active. Same goes for your path monitoring also. So any destination that you define over here, let's say this destination when you define, that means the firewall will check the destination reachability from your active. And from the active firewall, if this destination is unreachable, then your again failover will occur. Okay.
So
Okay.
let me ask
And
a question.
yeah.
Yeah, regarding the same question. So if any of those NFS fail, the active become passive, the passive become active. What happens if that NFS come back?
So once it is come back, you have to statically define the priority. I mean your failover HA over here. So you can see right now what I did. I did a suspend local device. So that's what I did over here.
Do you, do you think that that's the best design? We always go in and force the fail back.
Yeah. So I'll show
It,
you. You
and
you
what is the preempt? What's the preempt that you
correct,
define?
correct. So you can see right now I've selected preempt. Preempting
Exactly.
should actually do a balance between active, passive, passive, active, depending on device priority. But in VM case, it doesn't happen. That's why I did manually.
Okay. Okay. So, but technically on the hardware, the preempt should have an effect, right?
Yes,
So
it,
to
it
do the
has.
fail
Correct,
back.
correct.
Okay.
That's why you have an option called preemptive over here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All
Okay.
right, that's good. All right.
So guys,
So
this yeah, please go ahead.
So my question is about the panorama.
Mhm.
Do we have to, because I saw at the end of it, it said GZ. Is it like a zip? Do we have, what do we have to do? Do we have to unzip it? Because I just
Unzip it.
tried to.
So
Yeah, you have
unzip
to
using
unzip it.
7Z.
7 zip. Mhm. Or if you have a Mac, it's easy. You just double click on it. It will.
Okay, guys. So
Okay,
you
I
can
will
see.
unzip. Oh, you
Yes.
said I will zip
Mhm.
zip using 7Z, right? I will download 7Z.
Yes, you can unzip using
Okay.
7Z. I think it's a large file. That's
Yeah,
fine.
don't worry about that, Chike. We'll take care of that.
Guys, one more thing. You can see right now mode I've selected as active passive. Once you're practicing, you can you can use active also, and just check if you're able to configure. If not, don't worry. I'll cover it tomorrow. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes. Yes,
I
please
have
go
a
ahead.
quick question. So I was in my mind when you were talking about HA, I was thinking that we should have only one management IP address for both.
Okay. So
Uh,
yeah. Okay. You complete your question, please. Sorry.
say I was thinking about one management that we did not have to go into, that we do not have access to the passive.
Mhm.
I was looking at the like a virtual IP for both device to manage the device. I don't know if it's the same thing like we do on the Cisco
Uh,
SA.
no, actually, this is different. Why? Because I'll show you the basic difference. When I'm talking about active and passive, okay, then you have to log into individual Palo Alto firewalls with a different management IP. Okay, clear? Now, when I talk about
Yeah,
active firewall, then these management IPs actually they get converted to something called as floating and self IP.
floating. Yep. Yep. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so
All right.
people gets confused if I do the same lab on same day. So that's why I will do this tomorrow.
Right.
In the meantime,
Right.
you
Okay.
can practice
Right. That
active
makes
passive.
sense.
Yep.
All right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
So you'll be showing active as well, right?
Yes. I'll show you active
Yeah, to
active.
practice this
You just
first.
practice active passive today. I'll show you active active tomorrow.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Any more questions, guys?
No questions so far. Well, you just have to go practice it. That's the key thing, man. See.
Okay. No problem.